Welcome to LGBT University.
Make the bill want it! Make the bill want it! Make the bill want it!
I can call myself a non-binary trans femme identified BDSM dyke diesel femme. That's, I could have all those names.
There's no box for that.
No. And I'm very glad that there's not.
Kate Bornstein is one of the most important figures in contemporary gender discourse. She rose to underground infamy with the 1992 publication of her book Gender Outlaw, an iconic manifesto that deconstructed the gender binary. Bornstein's history is as full and complex as her ideas about identity. Before she became a queer icon, she was a high-ranking officer in the Scientology Church. In 2015, she became a cast member of Caitlyn Jenner's docuseries I Am Kate, bringing her work to a broader American audience.
It's not either or.
Hi, my name is Victoria, and I'm a mess. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is very serious to me. It's something that I firmly believe in, and I just wanted to voice my opinion and let you guys know, my subscribers and my family, how I feel about this issue. The reason that this all came about, I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, and she was like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I was like, "Of course, of course." And she was white, so I was a bit reluctant to speak to her at all. But I gave her the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, okay, we can, talk about whatever's going on. So she comes up to me and she's saying how her boyfriend is beating her and abusing her physically, emotionally. The relationship's not going well. It's not going as well as it did in the beginning, and she feels like it's falling apart and she doesn't know what to do. And the first thought I immediately had was, well, is he black? And she said no. And then that's where it kind of all made sense to me, because if you're dating a man who isn't black, then the relationship, you've already set yourself up for failure. I believe that a good, solid relationship is built on a firm foundation. And when you're dating someone who's white in particular, it just kind of throws it all off, because really the only way you can thrive and the only way you can succeed in a relationship is with a black man. And let me explain why.
According to a Batty Mamselle article,
Black women's bodies continue to be used to ridicule our very existence
and to deify white female sexuality. So what does this have to do with Beyonce? Everything!
A lesson for Mrs. Carter in understanding our sexual agency.
Or how Tanya and King got their groove back. When we become members of the Bagency, we are preteens.
I am a Backstreet Boys addict and a booger-eating enthusiast.
I am a mouthful of metal and Twinkies' biggest consumer. It is 2003. Beyonce is a goddess in denim shorts, white tank top, and a strut that could shutter any street lamp.
We are crazy in love.
This woman, this black woman taught me how to be oyster shell, to never spread my thighs under pressure, to never give pearls away to thieves with reckless hands.
To caution those who have made a roast of this body. A tool to drown those who say love is a burning room. They do not know my heart is a fitting mechanic.
They do not know the size of my freakum dress. The first time I let myself dance in public was to check on it. My mouth snarled into knife wound, my back bent over in prayer, my knees unbolted to a greater calling. That I didn't need to be held by these white boys who ain't never seen a woman like this.
Ain't never seen a woman become woman too early.
A rose with all her thorns not beckoning to be touched, because brown girls do not always need to be touched.
To be told they've made a mocking of lust.
Not knowing are wild, not knowing that I am a stunning poison when they drink of me.
Not knowing the guitared men I've wept after.
Each an exit, each name adored.
Brandon,
Joe,
David,
Antonio,
Nathan.
You must not know about me. The gospel of Beyonce states that this altar made of filth and baptism was mine. I could be greedy, I could be wolf adorned in sheep's clothing, still saying no, and fuck you, and to the left, to the left.
1. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask if your country is your country. Ask if your country belong to your country folk. Ask if your country addicted to blood. Ask if your country addicted to forgetting. Ask if your country an oil and power fiend. Ask if your country shake at night, starving for bodies. If bodies mean your country get to keep on being your country in the same old way. Ask if your country is built on stolen land and stolen breath. Ask if democracy is a chain tight as skin around your neck. Ask if your comfort means that elsewhere someone is burying a daughter. Ask if your comfort means that round the corner a man is dead because a cop mistook his body for a gun. Ask if your comfort mean broke schools and food deserts on the other side of town. Ask if your new apartment used to belong to someone who couldn't afford to look like you. Ask yourself if all the things you're scared to admit are shovels slowly filling a brown boy's throat too. All lives don't matter the same as all lives. Some lives matter only to ourselves. Some lives matter only in they hood. Some lives matter of fact and some lives up for debate. All lives matter to somebody, but what about this life of mine? Honey-colored and black as it is, what my life mean to you? Am I talking to you? Do you wish me justice, or do you just wish I would just shut up already?
Well, you wouldn't have to normalize it if we weren't already seen as freaks. And you're still, how do you deal with it? So I own it. To me, it's a great sense of freedom. I get to play with it. And as long as I'm not mean, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know?
Troublemaker.
Yeah.
But you got on season 2.
I did. I don't call myself a woman. I do call myself a tranny. And
You do?
transgender women have a lot of problems with that.
I would be one of them.
Yeah.
It's my name. It's who I am.
But it's not my
the
name.
love I have for my queer trans family. What I was didn't make sense. I knew I wasn't boy. And I started looking for some kind of spiritual answer. What attracted me about it was Scientology's notion of you are your own immortal soul. They called that soul a thetan. I said, so are there girl thetans and boy thetans? No, of course not. I thought, this makes sense. Nothing else in Scientology made sense, but that made sense.
You stayed in it 12 years?
Yeah.
How did your time in Scientology come to an end?
It was still homophobic and transphobic. That language wasn't used, but that's what it was.
Black men are elite because they have been through so much as a race over the years. And this goes back so far into history, of course, having to do with slavery and civil rights issues and things like that. I personally feel like Black men are so much stronger and so much more equipped to handle anything that could come in your way. They are there to protect you. They will do anything to make sure you are safe. Not to mention, due to slavery and the fact that me as a white person, my race enslaved these people, I hate how people think that's irrelevant anymore. It's definitely relevant, and we owe them the utmost respect. And it really angers me when people say, oh, well, slavery's in the past. Slavery was so, so many years ago. It really wasn't. Slavery was not that long ago. And segregation was around until like 2008, I think. So you shouldn't be discrediting all of this history because it is still very prevalent. Racism is very alive.
We choose to be flawed and flawless
Because we all want to be drunk in love with baby boy as he gets us bodied at the 7-Eleven. And isn't that a sweet dream for the single ladies?
And isn't that how pretty hurts? That it singes so holy, it is no longer guilt.
It is no longer an apology that a diva is a female version of a hustler. Her voice a belief we could be more than mausoleum, but rather museum of glory.
Each album another instruction, each lyric another blueprint or bayprint or whatever.
A manual that our sexual agency doesn't always have to be sexual.
It can be a Netflix binge-watching introvert.
Or sometimes it twerks alone when it should be getting ready for work. Black women deserve to be seen as sexual on an individual basis. We are not saying we are Beyonce. We are Tanya and King.
An accidental hipster.
A reformed tomboy. Two oddball feminists who run the world.
3. Diamond Reynolds is a hero where no one should have to be a hero. Steady as she be with daughter in the back seat, and Philando slowly becoming a memory right next to her, gun still pointed at his body, cop outside the window scared of a man he already proved to be a myth, thinking him zombie when he already imagined him ghost. See, Diamond be diamond strong in a world that treat our people like bad water. Diamond unbreakable, but why they test her like that? Why they send bullets through our bodies like they trying to see if we real or just a bad dream? Why they nightmare us into beasts? What good is police? What is the American dream to a brown person except the dream of America leaving us alone? For I don't want America no more. I want a country happy for the immigrant hero. I want a country where joy is indigenous as its people. I want a country that keep its word. I want to not be scared to drink the water. I want a country that don't bomb other countries. I want a country that don't treat its people like a virus. I want a country not trying to cure itself of me. I want a country that treat my mama right. I want a land where my sister can be free. I want a country that don't look at me and my man and think about where and how we should burn. I want a nation. I want a nation under a kinder God. I want justice, the verb, not justice, the dream. I want what was promised to me. I want 40 acres and a vote that matters.
I want no more prisons
and a mule.
And factor in all this time I was hating myself for being trans and trying to cure myself of that. And now all of a sudden having the freedom to go, wait a minute, if that was fucked up, then maybe I'm not so fucked up for wanting to be girl.
You were waking up from a decade of sleep.
Yeah. And gender identity and sexual orientation wasn't known then. We didn't know that. My therapist knew it, and she told me that. I went, whoa. Okay, so my gender identity is female, woman, and my orientation is, she says, say it, you're a lesbian. That was terrific. A whole lot of why I went forward into my transition is that I knew that wasn't who I was. So I must be a woman. And then when woman didn't work, it was a dark night of the soul. There were no other choices. There were no There was no such word as non-binary or genderqueer or gender fluid, none of that around. And that's one thing I want to show in this new book. I've got best title ever.
Yes, what is it?
My new book is going to be called Trans, just for the fun of it.
That's great.
I know. Don't be mean. If you're not being mean, you do whatever the fuck you want to do to stay alive, to make your life more worth living. And so I came up with the idea of the Get Out of Hell Free card. Basically, it says you do whatever it takes to stay alive. You do whatever it takes to make your life more worth living, make you feel like you're being more true to yourself. Just don't be mean. And if you get sent to hell, hang on to the card, give it to Satan. I'll do your time for you. I've given out about close to 30,000 of them all, you know.
Dang.
It's a good thing I'm a masochist.
Right.
I'll have a fun time.
There is something so liberating about having sex with a Black man, because let me explain. Usually, experiences I've had sleeping with white men are, for the most part, mediocre, disappointing, almost depressing. Their penises are never bigger than, like, I want to say 3.5 inches, at least that I've encountered. And they just want to bust a nut and then leave. You know, they're not really there to nurture you and make sure you're pleasured. Sex with a Black man is completely different in all aspects. They have the largest penises in the game. I'm pretty sure that no Black man has a penis under 11 inches. I read that, I think, no, it was actually on the Dr. Oz show where I saw that, which is very credible, of course. So overall, it's a very stimulating experience. And then post-sex is also very amazing because they just nurture you and cuddle you and give you kisses, and it's just the best feeling in the world. Black men will keep you in line. They will not let you put yourself in a position where you are in danger or you are unsafe or you could possibly get hurt. They are there to protect you. They won't let you leave the house if you look too slutty. That's another one. They will literally be like, look, turn around and go put something a little more appropriate on, or you will get attacked when you walk out of the store. And I really appreciate that, just because sometimes I can't see the danger that I might be putting myself in, but they definitely do. And that's something that I will forever be grateful for.
I want all lives to actually matter. I want to be over race, but race ain't over me. I want peace. I want equity. I want guns melted into a mosque or a church or a place for us to pray. I look at my students' hands and imagine all that they will mother.
Christ, whole name I was raised to pray to. Oh Allah, sweet Lord of my father.
Oh, all you gods of the homies and all the gods of strangers, work together. Build us into tools to build anything other than this world. Let us be dangerous to all that has failed us and bring us a world that is good to us. All of us. All us. All us. Amen.
Now, a lot of white women, as myself, who maybe aren't as enlightened as I am, have a main concern, which is, if his dick is so big, how am I going to fit it all in my throat? And that's where I can give you a little bit of advice and explain why the torture can turn into pleasure for you. So as white women, through history, years and years ago, and still present to this day, a lot of white women have a lot of prejudice still towards Black men, which is completely absurd and inappropriate and wrong. And if you are a white woman who does not like Black men, you can comment that down below and I will block you. Anywho, as a race, white, we have said a lot of things to Black people, and I'm not generalizing, there are definitely some bad apples in my group who have said some things about Black people that are highly inappropriate, highly offensive, and highly disrespectful to the elite race. And the purpose of a Black man having such a large penis is to simply shove it in your throat, and it allows you, or prevents you rather, from speaking at all. You can't really speak. You can only really mumble, or you can't voice your opinion. You can't say inappropriate things. And I feel like that's the purpose. And I think Black people, their bodies definitely adapted to have larger penises to shut white women up, because in history it's proven that a lot of us have been disrespectful, and when there's a big Black cock in your throat, you can't voice your opinion, and that's how it should be. We owe that to them. People don't understand. We enslaved these people, and that is so wrong. We're all humans. We're all human beings, and no one deserves to be enslaved and mistreated. And this is simply what we had coming, and that's just one of the downsides. Yes, they will protect you. Yes, they will love you unconditionally, but sometimes you just have to shut the fuck up, and that's just how it is. Whenever you are out on the streets doing your day-to-day routine and you see a Black man, I want you to go up to him and personally thank him. I want you to get on your knees, take your hands and bow down, because they've earned it. You owe that to them. I really hope that this video kind of enlightened you guys and just taught you a new perspective. A lot of people that I've told this, idea to, they don't really receive it very well. They think it's not real, or I'm being a bit absurd, or, things like that. And I just think they're closing their minds off, and they're not allowing their minds to be opened up to the idea. That is all I have for you today. My social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat will all be in the description below. Please be sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. I don't help people really. I don't do anything to give back. I just like having a lot of subscribers. So, subscribe, and that helps me out. It doesn't really help you, but it helps me.
Tonight's program has been brought to you by Cringestar.